Something is going on at CD Projekt Red right now. They have some kind of unannounced project on the way, and actually several of them. This company might be dropping a lot more content than we were expecting in the next few years. We have confirmation that something around both The Witcher and Cyberpunk is coming. The interesting part being, CDPR hasn't actually revealed what this will be, but it's shaping up to be something major. CDPR thinks it's going to make them a ton of money, and a new game feels likely here. A new show is also very possible, and all of this is set to drop in the next year and a half. But the time is finally here. Your opportunity to tell your own story in Westeros with today's video sponsor, Game of Thrones King's Road, which is dropping in just a couple of days. Game of Thrones King's Road is an action-adventure RPG that is literally set during Season 4 of the TV show, and here you'll get to explore Westeros in detail. The iconic show locations are faithfully recreated for this game's open world, but so are the characters. You'll embark on your own story here, working right alongside Jon Snow, but this is still Westeros, so you'll have political intrigue with Game of Thrones' most iconic faces and formidable foes, but my personal favorite part is getting to tell your own story. The game features a ton of quest content taking you all over Westeros, and experiencing this open world is just magical. You'll see the rise of the White Walkers firsthand, but also have to navigate the politics of the North yourself. But Westeros also has huge threats. You'll have several classes, like knights or sellswords, each with distinct combat styles to choose from, and you could even team up with friends to take down certain bosses in a multiplayer mode. And you're in luck, because starting this week, you'll be able to experience Game of Thrones King's Road anywhere. The game features full crossplay and even cross-progression between PC and mobile, and it's even free to play without pay-to-win elements. And right now is the time. Game of Thrones King's Road Early Access opens this week on March 26th, so stop waiting and use my link down below to pre-register so you could finally experience the story you want in Game of Thrones King's Road. Just yesterday, CDPR hosted a new earnings call, and what was easily the biggest piece of new info to come out of this was the release timing for The Witcher 4. You've probably seen these headlines as getting posted everywhere online, but the context around this quote is perhaps even more important, because in reality, CDPR just revealed something else. CDPR currently have 3 management board incentive programs running. Basically, if they make enough money in profit in these 4-year periods, like in between 2023 and 2026, the management board will get extra shares. Which of course, those shares can either be held onto or converted into money. So this is obviously something the executives at CDPR care quite a bit about. They want to hit these programs so they can make more money for themselves. The current incentive started in 2023, and it's going to end on December 31st, 2026, and that's the important context here. This is the reason they began talking about The Witcher 4's release window, this incentive program.
Where we are in terms of achieving the goals of our share-based incentive programs. The goal for the first financial years of 2023 till 2024 was set at 2 billion zloty of our cumulated net profit. After 2 full years, we've delivered 951 million zloty, which accounts for 48% of the target. Even though we do not plan to release The Witcher 4 by the end of 2026, we are still driven by this financial goal, and although it's very ambitious, we stand a chance of achieving it within the given time frame.
And what a lot of people aren't realizing is that this quote right here is incredibly revealing about more things than just The Witcher 4. Because what CDPR is actually saying is they know they're only 48% of the way there in terms of profit earned. They need to make 2 billion and have only so far made about 900 million or so. And the clock is ticking. The time period is more than halfway over. So in the back year and a half to 2 years of this, they have some catching up to do. They're going to have to make more money than they did over the last 2 years. They clarified that The Witcher 4 is not dropping during this period. So The Witcher 4 is not going to be contributing towards their profit incentive, but they still somehow think they're going to make an extra billion in profit. And to be clear, this is profit in zloty, the Polish currency. 1 billion zloty is roughly 250 million US dollars. So between right now and the end of next year, CDPR expects to make an additional $250 million in profit. And the reason that's insane is 2023 included Phantom Liberty. So put another way, CDPR is saying that they think they're going to somehow make more profit than they did in the year of release of Phantom Liberty somehow. And like, even if they want to get close to this, that does seem to suggest that some major new releases will be coming from this company, and that time frame is just the next year and a half or so. And like, okay, you might be thinking, well, of course, CDPR announced all of those games a few years ago. Some of those just must be releasing, right? Well, no, that's actually where things here get even more wild. During this earnings call, they also shared a bit of a roadmap and update dates on all of their upcoming projects. They've announced a ton of games, and wouldn't you know it, none of these games are close to release. Yeah, it's not like it's just The Witcher 4 coming in 2027 or later, but even the more casual Witcher game known as Sirius, being made by the Molasses Flood, is only in pre-production. It doesn't really seem that likely that this is where a bulk of the money is going to be coming from. And even during this earnings call, they described how the Molasses Flood are actually being integrated into CDPR to make development go smoother. Honestly, it sounds like this Molasses Flood game has had some issues internally. We've already heard about one reboot, and that was sort of the hope. That's the game that seemed to be the furthest along progress-wise. Beyond that, The Witcher 1 remake is only in a concept phase, and CDPR even confirmed that this game is dropping after The Witcher 4, and during the earnings call, they talked about how some of the members working on The Witcher 1 remake are being put on the Witcher 4 team to work on updating assets. They revealed that the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, Orion, is going to be going into pre-production phase in a matter of weeks. That's really exciting, but it's just pre-production. It's likely still 4 to 5 years away, even after pre-production begins. Beyond that, we also hear how Orion now has 80 devs, and they plan on doubling the number by the end of year. So 160 devs on the new Cyberpunk by the end of 2025. And we even get some mentions of unannounced and totally new projects. And yes, that's in the plural. During this, they do give some context on one of them. One unannounced project is coming from Fool's Theory. These are the same people remaking The Witcher 1, so now they're working on at least 2 things for CDPR. As well as a partnership with Scopely is underway. This is a prominent mobile game developer, so that does confirm that at least one additional project from Fool's Theory, as well as a new mobile game from Scopely, but potentially even more. I certainly got the impression that there was a bunch of stuff secretly being worked on right now. Okay, so that's not the answer. It doesn't really seem like any of these already announced games, even though there's a bunch of them, will be dropping in the next year and a half or so. Or at least not enough of them to actually make more money than Phantom Liberty. I just can't imagine this Witcher spin-off game is going to be that profitable. And yet, according to CDPR, we will be getting some Cyberpunk and Witcher content in this time frame. To go along with this earnings call, they also did an investors chat on stockwatch.pl. One of the investors asked if things could happen around both The Witcher and Cyberpunk in 2025, to which we hear, one of our strategic goals is the long-term support for the development of both our brands, The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077. We will also pursue this goal in 2025, although I cannot reveal the details at this point. And even during the earnings call, we do get an extended answer on what on earth they're going to be releasing to make all of this money. Because yeah, even the investors were like, wait, how are you going to do this?
And what I can say today is that our business success is based on longevity of our products, active franchise flywheel management, and releases of new content. And we expect to be active in all of the mentioned areas within this remaining time frame.
So there's 3 key pillars of how they're going to make the money is longevity with The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077, the franchise flywheel, as well as new content releases. And we do know about some of this. Right now, there are 2 upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 projects. A new anime from Netflix, as well as a live-action project from Anonymous Content. We don't actually know if the live-action is a movie or series, but we did just hear that there haven't been many updates around this during the earnings call, so it seems like the live-action project is still a ways away. Conversely, CDPR did report that they recently saw teases of this anime, notably at the end of last year, so it seems fairly plausible that the Cyberpunk anime, whatever this is, we just know it's coming from Netflix, will drop at some point in 2025. That seems like it can be a realistic expectation, but that isn't going to necessarily make CDPR a ton of money, and probably not more than Phantom Liberty. In all likelihood, they got a flat licensing fee to make the anime, and then they're going to see an increase in game sales, but they're trying to make $250 million. I don't think this is going to lead to that much profit. Looking at the franchise flywheel does perhaps give us another clue. This is CDPR's goal to use their franchises on other mediums. And one of the things they have yet to do is a Cyberpunk mobile game. So a lot of people are suspecting that this new Scopely game is something Cyberpunk related. It'll likely be supported by microtransactions, and that could certainly make them a ton of money in the next year or two. You would have to imagine it's releasing at some point in 2025 or early 2026 to actually generate enough profit in that time period. But at least during this earnings call, they said that the project was too early in development to share details, so who even knows when it's coming? In a similar vein, there's that other Fool's Theory game that could be another Cyberpunk title of some kind, but literally no details were shared around this, so I have nothing there. But we do know that something is coming in 2025, at least, probably. One thing I left out about these incentive programs from earlier was the one from 2025 to 2028, which was just posted by CDPR in November of 2024, and this was a surprising one. It actually led to a sizable jump in their stock because CDPR came in above estimates. According to Bloomberg, for the years between 2025 and 2028, it was estimated CDPR would profit 3 billion zloty. But in November, CDPR approved an incentive plan to make 4 billion zloty in profit. Basically, they're expecting to make 25% more than the analysts did. And of course, these investors, these analysts, they know about The Witcher 4. They know about all of these upcoming games. This means that CDPR is calculating they're going to make even more money than most people with all of the public knowledge were thinking. Why? Well, according to the CFO of the company, something dropping in 2025 is going to help kick that off. This could be something we mentioned already, a new mobile game or series, but the third major pillar of all of this is people keep buying and playing Cyberpunk 2077 and to a lesser degree, The Witcher 3. CDPR just had their most profitable year ever without a major game release. And just overall, this was their third most profitable year ever. As they say during their earnings call, the main reason for this was Cyberpunk 2077 sales. CDPR even adjusted their own internal amortization calculations for the game because it's proving to sell better over time compared to The Witcher 3. So it does kind of beg the question, are they actually going to release some kind of new content for Cyberpunk 2077? This game continuing to get updates was obviously a surprise for all of us. I mean, we literally heard officially that the final update had come out. But that was the strategy of the old CDPR CEOs. If you're not familiar, a couple of years ago, CDPR changed their entire strategy. This is when we found out about most of these games and even the franchise flywheel and such. The current CEOs of CDPR only stepped up to the position last year, but they were some of the architects on this new strategy while they were just on the management board. And in a recent interview, they made it clear, in this sense, it is our strategy, which we identify with. We are very excited that we can now, in new role, lead its implementation. So even looking back at that earnings call from November, we see them talking about this. What I can say today is that the success of our business is based on longevity of our products, active franchise flywheel management, and release of new content. We expect the new 2 years to be active in all of the aforementioned areas. Some may be surprising, and I believe this is something we are good at when running our marketing campaigns. The last line in particular there feels notable. Anime and a mobile game aren't actually that surprising. I mean, they've said it clear as day and really shown us over the past few years that that's the direction they want to go in. I don't think anyone was surprised to find out about a new Netflix anime. What everyone was surprised to find out about were new updates for Cyberpunk 2077 earlier this year. And even how those updates came to be was pretty shocking to me. With patch 2.2, things were worked on not by CDPR, but by Virtuous Games. This is an outsourcing studio, so basically CDPR paid them and hired them to make an update for their game. Even at the time, I was a bit surprised about this. I felt like just hiring a studio to make one update that nobody was expecting would kind of come out of left field. But what if in reality that was just preparation for something else? Could we actually see even more content for Cyberpunk 2077? Could we get more paid content for this game? That seems insane, and I don't even really want to predict it, but I'm honestly struggling to conceptualize how else they're planning on making all of this money. They're talking about something surprising. They're talking about the enduring sales of their franchise. It really sounds like we're getting something else around some of these older games, and Cyberpunk is obviously the main candidate to get something new. And even at the end of the Red stream for Update 2.2, they say this.
And maybe we still have a surprise or two left for you.
Maybe.
You will see soon enough.
Right now, we know Mac support is coming to Cyberpunk 2077 in 2025. I can't imagine that's going to make them a ton of money though. And we can see daily movements on the Cyberpunk 2077 SteamDB page, so it's probably for something. It could just be Mac support, but maybe more is coming. And honestly, with this video, more so than most, I'd love to hear from you guys down below. What do you think's going on here? Like I mentioned in the title of this video, something's going on at CDPR right now. They have something coming up that they think is going to make them a bunch of money, and it potentially could be a bit of a surprise for us as fans. What do you think that could be? Could we actually see another expansion for Cyberpunk, or is that just ridiculous to even suggest? Another Cyberpunk anime or mobile game seem a lot more likely, but is that really a surprise? Mod tools are the other big thing a lot of us are hoping comes to Cyberpunk, but I can't imagine that's going to make them a ton of money. It's not like they're selling the mods. But if you're interested in mods for Cyberpunk, check out this video.